Imagine if an SJW got a hold of this stream right now. Oh my, we would be blacklisted.
We're canceled. We're canceled every which way.
Of course, yeah. If Kenobi's a jumbled mess like that, a lot of fans are. It's not going to be good.
The guy with the guy in the cloak with the hood. You know that.
Again, a lot of people, a lot of people are really mad about that, man. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Late Night. My co-host is unfortunately apparently still running late. I don't know if he's still running with EBN or what's going on, but I see Brian's in here, Daisy's in here, Darth Scipio's in here, Darth Wizzy Wizard is in here. Hello, my friends. We're gonna do a little. I don't know if this is different tonight, but it's gonna be a little bit more, not emotionally charged. Emotionally charged is not the right word. We're just going to talk about some stuff, a little bit of stuff tonight when it comes to actual Star Wars content creation. There is a little bit of Andor news that we have to go over, but I thought it'd be interesting to take a minute. I want to talk to the chat tonight. I want to take some time and talk to the chat tonight about what your guys' opinions are about not Star Wars content creators, like who they are as a person or anything like that, but the type of content that's coming out. I guess that would be the best way to talk about this. So there was an article that came out from the Direct today. Oh, I didn't start my music. Hold on. I got to get my music going. I can't stream without my music. It's a little loud. There we go. Okay, that's better. What's up, Johnny Wingate? Good to see you here, man. I do talk to the chat. You're so full of shit. I talk to the chat. I do. I talk to the chat. I have been really bad at it in the past. Unfortunately, a lot of times I get carried away talking. If I have a guest on, I'm talking to the guests, and it just completely runs by me. And I'm trying to be better about that. But it is hard when you have other guests on to pay attention to the chat and make sure that you're, seeing everybody. But I appreciate everybody being here. I did want to talk about really quick something I thought that was interesting. There was an article that came out from the Direct today. I'll see if I can get this pulled up. But we actually have a new record for Andor. Episode 12 coming out is going to have the longest runtime of any Star Wars Disney Plus show. So Book of Boba Fett is now in second place. Every 60 painful minutes of the Book of Boba Fett finale was actually the longest Star Wars show on Disney Plus. But Andor is now going to take that record with apparently a 62-minute runtime for the finale. And I'm excited for that because I think they have a lot to wrap up. And I said that at the end of Book of Boba Fett too. I was like, dude, they better have a long time because they have so much shit they have to wrap up in like the last episode of this show, none of which they actually did. They didn't do any of it. It was just another like weird fever dream where they did a bunch of random stuff that made no sense. But Andor has, 3 plot lines essentially that need to basically be kind of, not wrapped up, but I mean, we have to have at least a little bit of closure or direction with all 3 of these plot lines. We have Cyril and his like crazy stalker attitude that needs to be handled. We also have Mon Mothma and her banking problems. She's like pimping out her daughter. And then obviously Andor himself. So there are, some other plot lines. Obviously there's subplot lines with Bix and things like, stuff with Deidre and the ISB and things like that. And obviously Luthen himself that kind of need to be wrapped up. But I think those are the 3 that are probably the most important. Maybe it's just because I favorite Bix. I don't know. Brian W's. Oh, chat's moving too fast. Brian, what's going on, X-Wing? Have a great stream, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, man. Weavin's in here as always. X-Wing sucks. Love you. John Graber's in here. Are we talking about Star Wars or Star Trek or Indiana Jones? It was supposed to be Indiana Jones. John Graber's been hitting the bottle again. It's good to see you, man, but, just chill out. Nathan Emmert is in here. My first real subscriber. What's up? What about episode 1 of Bad Batch? That was 70 minutes. Was it really? Okay, well then the article was mistaken, and thank you for that. Tan says that including the way too long intro. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the way that they introduced the Andor show. I don't know. I think they could have done something different, but they change the intro music every single time too, which I think is kind of. Did I not send? I didn't. How many times have I done this? I didn't even send Rissman a link. We're learning how to YouTube. We're learning how to YouTube. Where is he? There he is. Got it. All right. Now we should have a co-host. I apologize. That's funny. Showroom Saviors in here. What's up, man? X-Men, God bless you, brother. Seems like you always have a live stream out. Best creator. Oh, man. Those are some kind words. Thank you so much. That was really good to hear. I needed it. I'm feeling a little, I don't know. Not motivated. I've just had should have had a great day today, man. I went golfing this morning. It was 23 degrees when I teed off this morning. Crispy. It was crispy. It was a little crispy when I teed off this morning. But I got home and I don't know. I was feeling a little bit of blues for some reason. I was feeling a little down today. I don't know. I feel like I need a lot more Star Wars in my life, and that's going to come up later in the conversation. I think it's really interesting kind of where my head's at with Star Wars and how that may change or may not change very, very soon. But we'll get into that a little more. But look who it is. We do have the co-host for tonight's show, Grand Moff Rissman.
I made it.
You made it. You had an interesting night. How you feeling?
I'm good.
Okay,
good.
Good.
That was so much fun. But you know, as we've talked about, the minute it gets 3 is the tipping point, right? The minute there's more than 3 folks on the stream, and I even saw Darth Scipio he's like, "You're very quiet tonight." I'm like, "There's just a lot going on." Right? When you get 5, 6 folks, right, and especially when you get very strong YouTube personalities as a part of that, you know, it's kind of like
Robert Meyer was on Star Trek for a hot minute. Everybody's like, Star Wars channel, stop it.
I know, but we wanted to talk about Picard season 3, right? But you got to kind of let them go, right? And then, you know, Nick was into it, and I'm like, all right, we're ignoring everything. In my mind, I hear Coach like, "You're not doing anything you're supposed to do. We didn't play any videos." But I'm like, this is, you know, there's a recipe, like we've talked about, right? Every channel has a recipe about how they operate, right? What their standard operating procedure is for streaming. And tonight, as much as I love that stream, right? We didn't do a great job with the EBN recipe. Right.
Yeah, it was hopping around a lot. But
yeah.
Hey, look, it's in the past. You're on late night now. This is your home, right?
Ready to go.
This is your home. We're ready to go. We're ready to have. I don't know if you saw any of the beginning of this. I have a very interesting topic of conversation tonight that I think people may or may not enjoy. I mean, we'll see what happens. If people just start dropping out like flies, I'm still going to talk about it because this is my channel. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. Okay.
Did I walk into a trap? Is it trap?
No. Okay. I think this is going to be good. It's going to be healthy to vent some of these things out, and I think it's going to be healthy for everybody in chat to kind of get their opinions out as well. What's up, Ladage? Good to see you, buddy. And I'm going to keep up with chat tonight. That's the biggest goal, Rissman. Because whenever I have a guest on, I don't talk to my chat, and I apologize. So we're going to fix that. Late night needs to be the chat and then us two, right? It's like going to a bar.
Ronnie wants to know if you're going to see me dance again. Was it really dancing? Did we really classify what I did as dancing, or was it just...
Don't do that.
No, I don't.
What's up, Holocron Jedi? No, it's not Donkey Kong music, bro. What the hell? Luke Skywalker's in here. What's up, buddy? Ronnie is shit. Yeah, we know that. So, first things first. The first thing that I brought up was we got the runtime for Andor finale, and I had been told that it took the record for the longest Star Wars show on Disney Plus at 62 minutes. Boba Fett coming in slightly under at 60 minutes for the finale, but apparently Bad Batch episode 1 was 70 minutes.
Well, but that was a cheat, right? Because Bad Batch, that was 2 episodes put together, right? They put 2 episodes together for what we consider to be Bad Batch episode 1, and yeah, so I think it netted out at 60 minutes ish of content. But I will say, where we're getting the runtime of Andor's season finale is secondhand from a site that does something about they do something about after the fact photography, because I looked them up, right? I'm like, do they know what they're talking about? How do they know? And for the last couple of episodes, they were not right. We're not right
about the direct.
No. They're all citing a someone who said something on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And so I actually went to.
I like getting into the nitty gritty of this
No,
stuff.
I went.
Where's the info coming from?
Because I'm curious, right? You know me, I'm reading all shit and everything. So I went to the source of it, and I scrolled up a bit where they had said what the runtime was of episode 11, and they weren't right. Right. So I'm like,
oh, okay.
So maybe it is 54 minutes less.
Comparatively, like how different was it though?
They were rough by when the actual content's only 40 minutes and you're off by 3 or 4 minutes, it's an order of magnitude, right? Because
yeah,
it's
I don't know if I care that much.
It's 9 minutes of leading and ending. Right now, again, episode 12 has a post-credit scene, so I don't know how that figures into the runtime.
Melvin, that's not how you spell Disney. You know that. You say it louder than everyone.
So point of my rambling, I feel like the finale is going to be a good 45, 46 minutes of.
I think it's going to be longer than that. It's got to be longer than that. I think it's going to be longer than that.
I don't think it's going to be 54 minutes. Right.
How did they do that? That's not Melvin?
Looks like Melvin.
See, you know what? And this is gonna go into the conversation that we're gonna have a little bit later about Star Wars content creators and stuff like that. It's like, if that's actually not Knights of Melvin, that kind of shit pisses me off so much. It's like, really, bro?
It's not. You click. I can do it from YouTube. You click on it. They have no subscribers, so it is. She's correct. It's a.
Oh. You sneaky little bugger, you. Look, you did a great job, though. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was for sure. I mean, fuck, I've had Melvin in my chat 1,000 times. I'm like, it's got to be Melvin. There was one guy in your chat over on EBN tonight that was like, Melvin must die. It's like,
yeah,
really, dude?
Yeah, I don't know.
Christ almighty.
It's that's what we live.
What's up, Nick?
The troll phenomenon, right?
So maybe that's let's get into that, okay? Because this is a conversation I wanted to have tonight. I purposefully didn't name the stream this because I thought it might attract the wrong crowd just talking about it. I'm looking for normal people with normal perspectives, okay? I had a conversation with another YouTuber tonight from a group of YouTubers who a lot of people like to crap on, right? And then obviously I had Darth Melvin on my show, and that caused all kinds of problems in my community as well, right? And so my question is, what is it really that people want from Star Wars content creators? Because my ethos has always been, be honest. Just be honest about it, right? And if you're honest, you're either called a fence sitter, a shill, or a grifter, depending on the way you view things, right?
Yeah.
So what is it that people really want from Star Wars commentary? Do they want truth, or do they just want, oh, there you go, see? Or do they just want controversy? Because I feel like people thrive off of that, right? I mean, it's like, what's the one show my wife watches all the time? Love Island. What is it? It's drama. 24/7, nothing but drama. Everybody's screaming or crying and all this different kind of shit.
But they're looking for true love, X-Wing. You got it. Oh,
that is not true. She says the same thing. She's like, well, it's stupid TV. We just like it because it's stupid. And I'm like, okay, so if that's true, then why would you go? I've been watching Valiant Renegade has been getting attacked like crazy, left, right, upside down, and sideways. And you shitty channel, you're terrible, blah, blah. And he's putting it all on Twitter. I love it because he's just doing the full T, right? He's like, look at how stupid these people are. What I'm trying to wrap my head around is that if I'm fake about it and I just say everything that Disney creates is shit, you get hate from one side. If you're a shill and you're like, everything is beautiful and amazing and it's awesome and everybody should watch Disney Star Wars, you're going to get crapped on like crazy and people are going to make videos about you. If you're honest and you're like, some of this stuff was good, some of this stuff was crap, people are like, you're a fence sitter and I can't watch you. What do you want? What do you want? I don't understand what you want.
Well, welcome to 2022, right? Where everyone has a voice and everyone's opinion is heard. You know, for me, I do think when it comes right down to it, whether they shit on you or not, people do, and I see it with Chad as well. Right? People do value honesty, right? Well, yeah. And so, and honestly, we don't, as people, right? We don't always love everything, and we don't always hate everything. Right, and it is pretty okay to have a middle of the road opinion on some things, right? Yeah, okay, it's fine. I'm enjoying it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I didn't come away offended as I have on some things that I've watched recently, right? I found them offensive.
Doesn't really make for good content though if you're just like, nah, it was all right.
Well, that's what you're saying. What you're saying now is the point of it, right? This YouTube space it's in some ways it's become more on the business side, right? It's what sells, what gets people to watch.
How does
that translate though then to the real beliefs of the person's channel you're watching?
Right.
And why do people tune in to listen to that, right? Is it because there's a like-mindedness, right? You say things that are very similar to the way I feel, so I gravitate to your content?
Right.
Is it you get fired up and I like that? I like the controversial nature of the discussion. Is it a bit of entertainment? Are you in a costume, right? Are you doing things that are very entertaining, right? Is there, what is it about the entertainment value and the things that people are attracted to when it comes to YouTube? Sometimes it doesn't matter at all what you think, right? It's how you present it, how you interact with folks.
Well, and that kind of brings up my other point, is that I think the craziest thing to watch for me is the way that people hate the sensationalist YouTubers. I enjoy it. I love watching that stuff. I mean, I may not hate to a degree the way that other people hate content, or at least portray it on their channels. If they do, they make those kind of hate videos. And that goes along with the Scipio, woke. It's sensationalism. I enjoy a performance. Look at Doomcock and Darth Melvin. Those are two really good examples of people that I don't hate at all. And maybe somebody's going to lose their mind that I say that, but it's a performance. It's probably a performance. I don't know. Maybe they are 100% that way, but I enjoy watching them because they're entertainers. It's entertaining. Like there used to be, you remember at the checkout line at the grocery stand, there used to be that thing called the Hollywood Inquirer.
National Enquirer, yeah.
National Enquirer, that's what it was. Yeah. And it was just like crazy articles that make no sense. It was like it was like Jennifer Aniston gets her head replaced with a Chihuahua's head or something like that. You're like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. But
or the Sun, there's variants, right? The Sun, the National Enquirer,
Yeah, and people enjoy it. They're like, whatever, it's fun, And so when it really gets down to the personal way that people attack those content creators, I'm like, fucking lighten up. Lighten up a little bit. They're not hurting you. You know what I mean?
This is, again, and whether, I say it a lot, right? Welcome to 2022. And in some ways, we've lost our ability to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Things are very heavy, generally speaking, right? And I think back to some of the things, that I enjoyed coming up, right? Watching, whether at that time, of course, it was just TV, right? But we've kind of lost that opportunity to have fun.
Yeah.
Right. As I was walking back from the gym today, I was listening in on R&B's member chat, and they were talking about Boston Legal. Right, they were talking about the show called Boston Legal.
Never
right?
seen it.
It was just a fun show, right? It was silly and stupid, and there wasn't a lot of big messaging in it. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
right? And we've kind of gotten away from that now with again a lot of heaviness. So whether it's Melvin or Doomcock or some of these other ones, right, that are there to be quite entertaining and to deliver that escapist, feeling on YouTube, okay, right? But
Well,
then
I mean, a lot of it is an escapism, though, right? And so that's the only problem I have with who you would consider like a YouTube grifting channel is it's very much the same. It's not escapism. It's a reinforcement of the shit that we don't like. You know what I mean? Because if you do feel that way and you're like, oh my God, like the show is woke, it really is woke. And there are times when I do believe shows are very, very, very purposefully that way. When you watch a video on it, you're like, this is woke trash. It's like, I fucking know. I know. Like, I don't really want to watch that.
Well, and Nikki said it in the chat also, right? People are too sensitive and everyone's offended about other people being offended. And this is so funny. As much as we shit on Book of Boba Fett, the watermonger, right? The stapler guy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm offended on your behalf.
Yeah.
How true was that?
That was,
like,
you know what? That was the best thing in that show.
When he was in front of Boba Fett, he's like, well, I'm offended on your behalf and all this. I was like, not a truer thing was never said.
You quote that consistently.
Yeah, to some.
You quote that all the time. I wanted to look at this comment really quick from Showroom Sabers, member here at the channel. Thank you, buddy. The fandom can be fixed in one movie. The new sequel character movie they want to make can fix everything. I'd love to come on sometime and give that script idea. I have to push back against that, like, more than hard. I don't think one movie is... I don't think the sequel problem will ever be fixed, in my mind. I don't think the sequel problem will ever be fixed. I don't care what kind of content they make, how they change it, whatever they do with Rey. I don't think it's ever going to be fixed. Do I want it to be? Yeah, dude, I want Star Wars to succeed. A lot of people are like, you just grift, man. And I'm like, that's not true. I don't grift. I want Star Wars to succeed. And so when something's shitty, I'm going to say it's shitty. When it's good, I will sing its praises.
Well, also, by the way, grifting implies that there's some huge financial benefit, right, to being one way or the other. Right, and we know you and
I do not have a financial benefit.
Right, and so I'm not trying to diminish you or your content, because I think it's all wonderful, right? But I'm just saying there is a part of this grifting definition, right, that says people are acting in a particular way because there's a significant monetary influence, right? And
it does exist. That does exist. I think Mike Zero is the biggest grifter in the world. I just want to say that because that came up in the chat. They're like, what about Mike Zero? The guy is a fucking legend, okay? And if Mike Zero ever sees this, you're a legend for what he did, because I don't know how that guy pulled off what he did, but oh my God, he pulled it off. Brie Larson saves Star Wars. Brie Larson back in Star Wars. Brie Larson saves Lucasfilm. I'm like, Brie Larson has never even walked in the door of Lucasfilm, and the guy made millions of dollars off of it.
You know what Mike Zero is? I don't know Mike Zero from nobody. I can't tell you if he's a real Star Wars fan or not. But you know what he is? He's an excellent businessman.
Yeah,
right? He's
figured it out.
And you cannot dispute the fact that he's grinding it out. And I don't know, right? You can't dispute the fact that he's grinding it out and laughing all the way to the fucking bank. Well, welcome to the American dream. Peace and love.
Where's the other? Hold on. Where's it? Where is it? Found it somewhere. Come on, there was a chat earlier.
What are you looking for?
They were talking crap about Ryan Kittle.
Oh, that was Darth Scipio.
Scipio, where are you at? It wasn't that one. Damn it, I can't find it. But anyways, they're talking shit about you, Ryan. You're bad content. You're not entertaining. I disagree wholeheartedly. Dude, Ryan, the thing about Ryan, dude believes what he believes and he fucking sticks by it. I enjoy that. Anybody who can stand by their convictions and plow right through it in the face of whatever people are saying to him, I enjoy that. I like that. So I'm a supporter of Ryan Kittle. I like his show. I think he makes good content. But again, to kind of piggyback on what Nikki was saying, yeah, people, they're very sensitive, man. And there's this attitude that, like, internet man hurt my feelings. And it's like, well, then just don't watch it. That's all you have to do. And to say that one person on YouTube fundamentally effed up your life, or to be that animated about it, I think that's what upsets me the most. It's like, dude, just fucking relax. And if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it.
Change the channel. Like I've said before, change the fucking channel.
There's got to be channels out there on YouTube that are truly damaging. Like, actually damaging. I don't think RK is one of those people.
But we like authenticity, right? And I think, at least for me, the channels that I have time to follow, I follow because I feel like the folks that I'm investing my time in are authentic, right? Does that mean I have to agree with them 100% of the time?
Right.
No, I find it boring. Right. I personally find it boring to check into something where all I hear is me. Right. It's not what I'm looking for. Right. I'm looking to be challenged. Right. I'm looking to learn something new from the time that I invest.
You're willing to be challenged. That is such an alien idea to so many people, because confirmation bias is the drug of the 21st century, right? Everybody wants affirmation. Everybody wants affirmation.
I don't want people to fucking. I am not right all the time. I know this, right?
You're never right.
But I would like to learn some things, right? I'd like to, as Robert always says, I'd like to listen, right? I read, I listen. I'm a bit of a dinosaur from another age now, literally.
Yeah, right? I think I saw a newspaper in your room earlier. Like, who the fuck does that?
Right, but to me, that's how we grow. That's how we grow as people, right? So not only are folks too sensitive now, right, but we seem to be growth inhibited by choice, right? And I don't get that mentality. It doesn't compute with me, because then how do you become better? Right? Isn't that the point? Isn't that
Agreed.
The point of all of this?
Agreed. Which leads us perfectly into the segue about talking about Andor on the internet. Why is it not being talked about?
Well, it's not being talked about.
By large?
It's very community specific, right? Like I said, I
think it's not being shit on because it's not that bad.
It not only is it not that bad, right, but it doesn't make for interesting content, right? He has to fiddle. That's great, right? But like I say, I've been in quite a few streams here recently where there's been conversation about Andor, and it's been very intellectual conversation, right?
Super boring to most people, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Right, but if you're into it and you're talking about some of the different themes and different things, you heard Robert talk a little bit about it earlier on the Echo Base stream.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very heavy series to watch, and this is we're at a time now where real life is very heavy. So it's hard for a lot of folks to say, okay, I want to invest my time in entertainment that's also very, very heavy and very deep.
Yeah.
And a little bit sad, right?
And it is an investment.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Sure is.
This is an interesting one too, because if you're one of those people who's like, this shit is woke, it's woke, it's woke, it's horrible, it's woke. Look at Hot D. I mean, they were lesbians and gays, super diverse diverse cast, everything about it should scream woke, right? It's a great show. It was an awesome show. Kept me hooked from start to finish. Great show. And I wish I'd have made more content on that show because it was great. Unfortunately, I'm not a
HBO
George R. R. Martin channel.
HBO pioneered this original content idea.
Yeah.
Right, with this, and I know Game of Thrones sort of went off the cliff, literally there towards the end or whatever. But I was quite pleased with what they did with House of the Dragon. Right? Is it my most favorite thing ever? No, Did I find some of it a little bit pedantic and was I a little bit distracted? Like, all right, get to the point. I'm with you, but let's keep going. Yes, but I'm invested. I'll keep watching it. Right? They did a really good job with that series. Right, and so it's a tough one for me, in regards to where we are with Star Wars and Andor specifically, right? A lot of folks checked out, right? And they got tired of the flimsy, what I'll call flimsy content, right? That we've been getting on Disney Plus from a from a live action Star Wars series perspective, and then Andor comes with Tony Gilroy saying, "Fuck all that. I'm gonna do what I know how to do. Yeah. Right? I'm gonna hire great actors. I'm gonna give them great dialogue. We're gonna have physical sets. They used models in the last space scene, and some of the rest of they went old school theatrical of, well, we're not going to give it to you on a movie screen, but I can sure as hell give it to you the way I know how to do it."
Yeah.
Right. And for me, the sad thing about it is it's not gotten the followership. And I've seen Felicity. I can't dispute the fact that it hasn't been as widely accepted as we would like, from a franchise perspective, because it's coming on the heels of a couple of floppers.
Flop. I feel like flop is a very gentle way to put what happened with Boba Fett. And see, here's the really interesting thing about Star Wars is that it's not like Game of Thrones, where if you make a spin-off show of one character, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a huge George, like R.R. Martin massive simp or anything like that. And I didn't read the books. I enjoy the show. But when you take somebody like Obi-Wan Kenobi or somebody like fucking Boba Fett and you mess it up, you have to really realize you're undoing 50 years. That's a lot for me to handle. So, like, I love Star Wars and I want it to succeed, but when you see something like Boba Fett and you see something like Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's really hard not to have that apathy. And a lot of people are like, fuck it, I'm out after Kenobi and Boba Fett. Because you took two characters that have been widely loved. I mean, you have to think about Boba Fett is probably the most famous toy action figure that's ever been sold in the history of ever, right? And I still think that rocket firing like J-Hook Boba Fett is still the most expensive action figure on the market. And then you have Obi-Wan Kenobi, somebody who has spanned literally from 1977 up until today. They just made a show about him, and you fuck it up. I have a hard time being mad at people who were saying Disney fucked up, I'm out. How can I be mad about that? How can I be upset that somebody makes a video saying I'm done with this shit? How can you really be angry at anybody for grifting about what's happened? And after the sequel trilogy too, which pissed a lot of people off, how can you actually be mad at somebody for that?
I can't.
Got a good explanation, man.
Well, other than it being human nature, and that sounds like a cop out, right? But I can't disagree with you in sentiment, right? Where what hurts my heart is when it relates to Andor, right? At one time I thought they chose to sequence the way they released things, right? Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, and then Andor, because there was something in Andor that meant it needed to be last, right? And now I'm like, well, we got one episode to go. Kenobi's not showing up in the last episode, right? There, Boba Fett, there isn't anything happening in the last episode.
Please don't bring in Kenobi.
But what I'm saying is there isn't anything that's happening in the last episode that's going to, for me, justify why they had to put things in this order, other than just the simple fact that Andor had 12 episodes.
Disney hired morons making decisions?
But actually, this is an interesting thing, right? Because in all the articles I read, I found one where Tony Gilroy talked about why they moved it, right? Because it was coming out in August.
This is news to me then.
They because remember they put Rogue One back in the theaters. It came, it's still in the theaters. I went to see it. It was still focused around that August thing, and the reason they moved it was, shocker, Rings of Power and House of the Dragon, right? Because the streaming releases are not publicized in the same way as the theatrical releases are, right? And so Tony said something in the interview like, you know, we were cooking with gas, and then all of a sudden they realized, well, you know, House of the Dragon and Rings of Power are coming out about the time we're trying to come out. And he was like, does that make sense? Should we move it? And then he's like, I went to a meeting and they're like, we're moving it. Right. And the rationale was, again, collision of major streaming prospects. Right. So it just seems, on your point of leadership and management, right, it just feels a little haphazard. Right. If it was me, I would have released Andor before Book of Boba Fett. Certainly before Kenobi.
That might have made Book of Boba Fett worse, though. Because if you put out storytelling like Andor and then you put out something like Book of Boba Fett, you're like, what the fuck happened?
You can blame Jon Favreau. You can blame Jon Favreau for the shittiness that was Book of Boba Fett's writing.
Well, dude, look, old Bobby Rod is not without...
He didn't write it. Rodriguez didn't write it. Mm-hmm. Favreau wrote that shit or oversaw the writing of it. Right, Rodriguez is he just tried to do the best he could with the shit he was given.
And I think I remember too, there was an article that came out, or maybe even Tem said it. Tem called Fav and was like, I don't think I should be taking my helmet off right now. And Fav's like, take it off, do the lines. And it's like, you're not listening to Tamara Morrison about what Boba Fett should... He's literally Jango Fett. That was kind of it's weird when you think about like things that impact you as a Star Wars fan. When I heard that, I was like, Favreau, what the fuck you got to listen to these guys. You have to. He was there with George. He was part of Star Wars. Like, I feel like there's a portion of you that needs to listen to cues from people who have been in Star Wars for a long time. Maybe just listen to it. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Well, and I
have like 9 Tamara Morrisons back there.
I think that story is actually one level worse, right? Because Favreau was doing something with Spider-Man. I think he was away, right? And so
he wasn't on set.
So Tem was like, "Here's how it's gonna roll," right? And the folks that were there were like, "Fucking get Favreau on the phone right now."
Yeah.
They were like, "This is not gonna fly." I'm not saying that anything that Tem was talking about was wrong. They were like, And then that's when they got him on the phone, and I was like, bro, no, right? That's why I say, love him or hate him, he had what he wanted to do for Book of Boba Fett, and they did it, right? I'm like, so...
Yeah, I didn't like it. Honestly, I mean, everybody called Jon Favreau the next Jesus, basically, after Mandalorian, and I was feeling that way, too, until I saw... obviously the other two that left something wanting. But hey, we're going to spend a little bit of time. Let's interact with chat. What do you think about that?
Go for it.
Let's keep these responses semi-short and sweet so we can move on to the next one. Felicity says, Tony Gilroy admitted that they are chasing the audience when they clearly thought it would be the other way around.
It's true. It comes from an interview, and he's like, his quote was something like, we came into it thinking, again, it's Star Wars is attached, so everyone would come. He's like, and then we quickly realized that isn't necessarily the case. And I think from his standpoint, he was like, I just made what he believes is, I made a great series. Opened up my Rolodex, got my A-team together, right? Got the actors.
He really did pull in the A-team too, because we have never seen this many like reputable actors in Star Wars together, and they have no right being as good as they are.
Forrest Whitaker, by the way, again, just absolutely
killing it. Saw Gerrera, I feel like it's just nobody can do Saw Gerrera except for Forrest Whitaker, right? Because he's just such a crazy character. You have to imagine, like, if you met Saw Gerrera in real life, you'd be fearing for your life constantly, because you're like, what the fuck is this guy thinking? Me? Who do you have?
And I have to tell you, I did chuckle a little bit that last time when Luthen was there, and
he's all hoses. That's my guy.
Yeah, so I was like, you probably got people here, and he's like, yeah, it's 2 tubes. He's like,
tubes.
Man, yeah, it's 2 tubes. And 2 tubes. I was like, wait, what? Huh? I was like, okay, that was kind of funny.
Yeah,
that dialogue was really
that kind of humor, that kind of shit. I love. It works for Star Wars, right? You got Luthen being a dick, and you're like, it's tubes. This dickhead over here. He's like, what?
Yeah, it's not like he grabbed 2 tubes by the throat and said, "You know who I am? You know who I am?" There was none of that nonsense.
Chased him around the kitchen.
It was just a bit of witty dialogue. I'm like, okay, that worked.
Yeah.
Right, and they made it work in the way they delivered it. Okay, well done.
All right, Bill Tackett, member of the channel, just joined the Discord actually. I think yesterday. Disney was expecting that Andor, a relatively unknown quantity, would benefit from the lead-in of a heavy-hitter legacy character like Boba and Kenobi, like Friends rode Seinfeld's coattails. I mean, if they thought that way, that was very much a 1990s way of thinking. But I think the interesting thing about audiences today is that they're not so easily fooled, and I think they're very jaded. I think today's audience is very jaded and cynical. No?
So I just have to say again for the record, I hated Friends when it came out. I still hate Friends. So let me just I love Seinfeld.
I saw 1 episode of Friends.
Oh, it's one too fucking many, right? but in regards to your jaded comment, right? I think in the communities that we operate in, right, of super fans and folks who are so invested in talking about this, we see some of that jadedness, right? But I have to tell you, when I'm out and about and someone sees me in a Star Wars something or spots a tat or whatever, and all of a sudden wants to engage me in Star Wars conversation, I have yet to find someone who's like, I hate Andor. It's not doing it for me, right? They want to know what they're building. Like, what do you think they're building? I was like, well, I know what they're building. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? There's conversation about the story, right? And about things that are going on that shows engagement and that shows that it's resonating with folks who are invested in it, right? Again, not diminishing anything from the folks that are here and what we've been talking about not wanting to invest or engage to begin with. But I have a hard time sometimes with the sound bites of it's not attracting folks, or people are not watching it, or things are not happening, or whatever, because it does seem like normies or folks that are not operating in this super fandom have been watching it.
Yeah. Well, it's, and this feels like an insult, but it's not. The show is very normal.
Yes. Too normal for some.
It's exquisitely normal.
Yeah.
Which is a really weird thing to say, but
I heard someone say earlier today in another stream, they said, I can't wait for the newest character to be the newest meet and greet person wandering around Galaxy's Edge. It's going to be Cyril's mom, and she's going to be following everyone around saying how they've disappointed her and how she can get him a job. I just laughed my ass off.
Wasn't there a restaurant in Disney World that used to be, it was like Mom's Table or something, where they were like angry old moms, and they would
still do it. It's at Primetime Cafe, and you walk in and like, eat your vegetables, and I don't want anything from you. That's their shtick.
Yeah, I remember I was like 9 years old. I was talking to my brother, and one came and whapped my elbow, and she goes, "Get your elbows off the table." I'm like, "Oh shit, this is like being at home."
yeah, no, but it's just an aside, right? But again, that's what it's the themes of what they're doing has resonated with folks. But on your point, to the extent that it's taken some people out of it being Star Wars, right? Even though there's TIE fighters and stormtroopers and pew pew and these things have been the Empire and all these things have been worked in. Folks are like, I don't want to see a nagging mom. If I want to see a nagging mom, I'll go home for Thanksgiving.
That's what I'm saying. I got PTSD when I saw her. I was like, just let me eat my fucking cereal.
So
leave me alone.
I get it, but I think back to the tropiness of all the sitcoms and the things that I saw through the 80s, right? Of that familial drama or the rest of it. And I'm like, yeah, this is great TV.
Yeah. So I have to ask, because Bill Taggart brings this up, does Disney Plus have their finger on the pulse of the jaded and cynical fans? The reason I highlighted this comment is because there was a retweet I put out the other day from it was another guy, and I think they were shitting on Star Wars Theory, and the quote on the retweet was, "They just want lightsabers and blasters and funny noises or something like that." And I'm like, yeah, I think Star Wars could use that right now. I think they could use a mindless action, not mindless, but they could use an action film. You know what I mean?
It's the old pendulum. It's one way or the other, right? The pendulum is way over here, and it's all pew pew and lightsabers and the rest of it. Or the pendulum's way over here.
Where was that pew pew? That was just lightsabers, and where was that?
I would say if you looked at what we got in Kenobi, there were a lot of lightsabers. There was a lot of pew pew.
Debatable.
It's out in 6 episodes. Listen, but
it was truly mindless action.
Yeah, but it's
mindless.
Again, when we talk about,
and the effects were horrible.
What are our characteristics for a Star Wars something, right? Good versus evil, light versus dark, Empire versus Rebellion, right? Are there Force users, right? Do we see lightsabers, right? Do we have that familiarity, right? So again, not diminishing the story they try to tell in Kenobi and whether or not we liked it or didn't like it. I'm just saying, in comparison to Andor, where we've gotten no lightsabers, no Force users. Right, we've gotten good versus evil. We've gotten the Empire established. We've gotten the Rebellion. They've done that, right? We've gotten some pew pew, although you don't like the pew pew because they've a little bit less pew. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Well, they fucked up the sounds of the blasters completely. It disgraced to Ben Burr, but
we've gotten that right. We've gotten some space battle, right? The space battle that we got in Kenobi. Remember, increase. They didn't even say it right. They didn't
increase space battle in Kenobi.
They fucked it up, right? So we even got a bad. I never thought we could get a bad Star Destroyer. They managed it in Kenobi, right? They managed to fuck up a Star Destroyer in Kenobi.
How do you do that?
Happen?
Yeah.
And yet they bring us a Cantwell cruiser that was never canonized, and it was kick-ass.
That was fucking awesome. Honestly, like the last episode, the space portion of it, I was like, oh fuck, oh Star Wars, that's right,
models,
Star Wars
models.
Yeah, they weren't like, ship, you're running out of fuel. We're gonna catch up to you soon.
it wasn't what we got with your favorite scene on the fortress, right? With those CG and the Wade bit, right? It's
the T-47 speeders. I will never forgive Disney for what they did with that.
We just got that in Kenobi, and what we got in Andor was fucking models.
Yeah, it was It was perfect. It reminded me a lot of the scene in Rogue One, actually, where you have the ISD coming away from the Death Star, and the focusing dish is starting to come in, and you're like, oh, that was hot. I was like, fuck, this looks so good, dude.
Wait until you see them constructing the fucking dish come on now. Come on. Right? So all I'm saying is it's so... Oh, was that a spoiler? Okay. It's not like I'm wearing anything that has any... Let's keep going. Right, so all I'm saying is they've proven that they can. This series proves they can still do it, right? And as much as I've been enjoying it, there's a part of me that's like, unless you're going to continue it at that standard, don't put the fucking series out at all. Right, because
that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, because now you've given us that. Yeah, now that you've given us that. Well, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that was in the Mando season 3 trailer, it's on that level, right? I mean, when they're coming in, when they're coming into Mandalore, and Bo's ship is kind of shaking, and they're looking over the destroyed dome on Mandalore. Yes,
it's all the volume again, right? It's gonna feel very small. And I mean, I want to love Mando 3, and I'm coming into it a little bit already. Like I was saying in the last stream, right? I'm coming into Mando 3 very concerned because they're fucking with their recipe, right? They're fucking with what's made Mando successful up to this point, and now they're putting a real story into it, right? They're putting something into it. When you think what the Mando story up to this point has been, let's go out on some adventures. Let's get Grogu back to a Jedi, which they totally fucked up. I don't want to go into all that again. I'll get on another rant. Right, but up to this point, it's been very space adventure. Right, it's been very, let's go out and find things and do stuff, and let's just have a good time. Right, as we're going along. Now in Mando season 3, it's very much, okay, no, we got to do something now on Mandalore. Right,
the whole Grogu Luke thing was essentially just a fluke now. Right, they're like, why did we do that?
They're like, they ruined all, in my opinion, they ruined all the goodwill they built up in season 2, episode 16, right? Of him coming back and taking him by fucking sending him back in a taxi cab with R2 driving.
Yeah.
In Book of Boba Fett, ruined that whole thing. I'm like, I watched 2 seasons of The Mandalorian to get Grogu back to a Jedi, thinking that something would culminate
happen there. Yeah. And they're like, nah, fam, we made you chainmail, which is still one of the biggest slights I think they've done. I thought that was so dumb. Baby chainmail? Baby Beskar chainmail? That's what you came up with? There were a room of Star Wars fans and like, what should we make? Like, chainmail. Oh, that's a great idea, Bill. Let's do fucking chainmail.
And then not only did they send him back via R2 taxi cab, but then they made Grogu a primary plot mechanism into how they were able to succeed in the battle.
It doesn't make sense.
I wasn't already pissed off at Book of Boba Fett, that was the clincher for me. Not the pikes and the nonsense and all the rest of it. It was the whole Grogu saving it. Fuck it. Right, so now I'm kind of like, all right, now it's Mando 3. I'm very close to just not caring about Mando anymore.
Oh, do you remember writing like a school paper and getting towards the end and you're like, fuck, I need 750 words. Like, I don't know what I should put in here. And so you just start writing stuff. That's what that Boba Fett, Mando, Grogu, Luke thing felt like. Now, the tough part is that seeing Luke again, and especially in that place and the way they animated him and his face and hearing him and everything was like crack cocaine to me. Of course, it's Luke Skywalker. I'm like, oh, it's fucking amazing. But they were giving me methadone, right? That was my methadone clinic for Star Wars. They're like, here's just your sweet little hit, buddy. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. And it was like this sweet relief. And then the high goes away and you're like, why did we do that? It didn't bring me any benefit. Why did we do this? This makes no sense.
We got punked. They punked us, right? Yeah. I don't like to feel that way, right? And I'm coming across as someone who hates The Mandalorian now. And it's not that I hate The Mandalorian, right? I have really enjoyed watching The Mandalorian, right? But I've seen other folks in the chat saying the same thing, right? The Book of Boba Fett fucking ruined The Mandalorian for me. In how they, and not only did they ruin it, but now going into Mando 3, for folks who haven't seen Book of Boba Fett, they're going to have to ruin it again. Because in some way, they're going to have to recap this, right? Because if you just watched Mando Season 2, and now you're watching Mando 3, and all of a sudden Grogu was with Luke, and now Grogu is back, they have to do something to fill in those blanks. They're not going to be like, excuse me, please go and watch Book of Boba Fett, at least these 2 episodes before. No!
Yeah.
right? So I have to endure it again. And then what I think they're going to do with Grogu in Mando 3, it's just, for me, it's insult to injury.
So how dope would this have been, though? If the X-Wing comes back, Luke gets out, and
I get it.
Fucking wrecks shop.
Plot
He's jumping around Tatooine, just absolutely murking people. We get a nice callback to, episode 4. He says something, blah, blah, blah. Like, mint. Fucking mint.
They had to send him back via taxi cab because, again, on this point, if Luke was driving, right, and he's like, oh, I'm back. Oh, there's a problem? Hold my Grogu. Right?
Hold my beer.
I see you later. He
BRB.
Would have been gone, right? So
yeah,
it looked like Boba Fett didn't come back in Slave 1. It came back on the fucking...
There's just so much they could have done with that final episode, especially with the inclusion of the Rancor. I mean, like, how funny would it be if he and Boba Fett kind of had like this awkward sort of conversation, and then Luke looks at the Rancor and he's like, I haven't had good experiences with Rancors, like, it's like shit like that. It would have been...
Again... I gotta let it go, but Boba Fett has to go all the way back to the palace. All right, so he's back at the palace, and he's like, we got a problem. How do I solve it? Slave 1, Rancor.
Yeah, we're gonna take the Rancor.
Rancor. Okay, Rancor. It makes no fucking sense. None whatsoever. Yeah. None.
Yep.
Yeah. The whole series.
Right. Oh, God. How did we get back to...
every time we had one of these streams, it always comes back to Book of Boba Fett. So either they did a really masterful job because we keep talking about it, or they did a really awful job because he gets my blood pressure up every fucking time.
Maybe both. Yeah, who knows? It's still Kenobi for me, though. And I think it's because I'm a prequel baby. Kenobi is still just... It's the one that's always... It's going to hurt me. Like, when I look back at the blunders of Disney Star Wars, honestly, Last Jedi is less of a sacrilege than Kenobi.
I had a much better time watching, as you know, Kenobi than I did Book of Boba Fett. Maybe it was just comparative bias.
I don't know what it was about that show with Kenobi. Do you remember I went into a depressive slump and I stopped making Star Wars content? Well. It was like 3 weeks. I'm like, I'm not fucking...
Couldn't wake you up. Couldn't get you out of it.
Yep. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not talking about it. I think that was really my, like, Star Wars is dead kind of moment. When they fucked up Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor coming back on screen for the first time since 2005, I died. And everybody's like, no, Kenobi was better than Book of Boba Fett. I'm like...
I have if I'm rating if I'm rating the two series next to each other, I agree with that statement. Right? I think Kenobi was better than Book of Boba Fett by leaps and bounds, just because I hate Book of Boba Fett that much.
Yeah, I think man, it's tough. It's tough to say. Honestly, those two are as much of a shit stain on Disney's Star Wars career as the sequels for me.
And remember, I'm
worse in some regards.
I'm a little bit biased because Kenobi had the Empire and had some cool things, right? So for me, again, the Star Destroyer business on the shuttle and that was to me still unforgivable. Never launched one fucking TIE fighter ever. What are you doing to me? Right? We have had how many TIE fighters launched in fucking Andor? I'm getting back into it. Right, but all I'm saying is, generally speaking, were things in Kenobi that I did like from the Empire's perspective, even though I think they flubbed the story.
That's all you care about, the Empire stuff.
Again, I'm very transparent.
Well, Kenobi had some good parts. Yeah, I mean, dude, the moment... So I spent the entire series just either scratching my head, laughing, or crying, essentially. And I did it all live for your viewing pleasure. The moment when Kenobi sits down with little Leia and talks about her mom and her dad.
Yeah. There were moments, right? There was moments where the tear, a little tear came, right? And then there bail fail, right? And communicators and things where I'm like, oh my Jesus.
The Vader Kenobi fight was like the most insulting thing I've ever seen in my life.
What you mean, the first one or the second one? Or both?
Both? Yeah, it was so insulting.
The first one really pissed me off. The second one I was into.
Second one pissed me off way more than the first one. I mean, physical reaction, it pissed me off. It pissed me off bad. I was like, who choreographed this? And maybe it's because I'm just so used to Tony. I almost said Tony Gilroy. Nick Gillard and like I expect to see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen like going at it. It was fucking awful. Excuse my French. I speak a little bit of French on this one. It was fucking awful, eh? And the thing that really bugged me was the choreography was not good, but then beyond that, the visual effects and the way that they use those NeoPixel lightsabers.
The series was cheap. It was cheaply made, and the budget came out, whether they wanted to or not. I'm sure they didn't. Right? The budgetary numbers came out to prove it. Yeah. If I can spot reused Book of Boba Fett / Mandalorian sets, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right? It's bad.
Sacre bleu! How dare you! Yeah, and dude, honestly, I almost forgotten about Reva.
You blocked her out, is what you mean.
I do, dude. My brain was like, I don't even care about that. I totally forgot. I forgot about Reva. Yeah, that's like a non sequitur for me.
I don't know. I thought the Grand Inquisitor was one of the better things they did in that show, despite the fact that its head was eggy. Right? I thought that ended up being like I say, I can pick and choose things in Kenobi that I enjoyed. I really struggle to do that with Book of Boba Fett.
The egghead argument died in like a week.
The eyes were Sith.
Yeah.
His vocalization and diction and the way he delivered, and when he came back, he was badass.
Do you remember that short I made when I saw the Grand Inquisitor for the first time? I'm like, yeah. Oh. Everybody was pissed about the Grand Inquisitor, and then he was gone. Yeah. Like 3 episodes in, we're like, wow. Okay. I think every decision they could have made, they made the wrong decision.
I really think in that show, Kenobi, and the reason why the production value suffered is because they used that money for Ewan and Hayden.
Yeah.
Like they used that money to bring them back. And as much as I love to see them back, I love to see them more on the press tour than I ended up loving to see them in the series. Isn't that sad?
I don't think he was horrendous. He wasn't great, but he wasn't horrendous.
He wasn't horrendous.
I disagree. Like I say.
But so
Larry Parody. Yeah, what's Larry Parody?
I don't know Larry Parody.
Dude, nailed it. The duels in Kenobi were like watching cutscenes from video games with how overpowered they were. Yeah, I didn't even feel like it was overpowered. It was just slow. It was lame. There's like that really weird scene where Vader has his saber turned down and he's like walking forward and Kenobi's crawling away. I'm like, what the fuck is this high school drama? I'm not saying they have to do Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes all over again, but you're talking about the most skilled defensive lightsaber combat artist in the world and the fucking Dark Lord of the Sith. Like, it reminded me of that video where there's the really fat kid with his shirt off and he's like, you don't know how powerful I am, and then he trips over the fucking garbage can and falls backwards. Like, this is not from Star Wars.
The saddest thing about that part of Kenobi for me is, when do we think we're going to see lightsaber battles again? Right? It's not going to be in Mando 3. Right? Ahsoka seems to have something to do with lightsabers, right? Because of the leaked trailer and all that. So is our next opportunity to see something lightsabery the Acolyte? Is
gonna be
that
Acolyte.
really what we're looking forward to now?
It's a Leslie Headland show, and I don't know how to feel about that. And honestly, to be honest, look, I've told you how I feel about Leslie Headland. I'm not worried about the show being woke. I don't care about it. It's going to be. It's gonna be woke. Don't care. If it's good Star Wars, great. I don't think it's gonna be good Star Wars, and I think they're gonna fuck it up. There's going to be a lot of whammon power in it, dude. That's the bottom line. And if they do it well, fine. I'll say, like, Gina Carano, why can't I remember her name right now?
Who is it?
She got her guts replaced by Thundercat.
Oh, you're talking about Fennec Shand. You're talking about Ming-Na
Wen. So, like, Ming-Na Wen and Gina Carano, when they came into Star Wars, I was like, good female character. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good. They're good. They're not, like, shitty. They're just strong female characters. I'm enjoying it. I don't think we're going to get that in Acolyte. I think we're going to get a very boilerplate, strong woman character. And Katie Sackhoff. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, Bill Tackett. Yeah. And Katie Sackhoff in Bo-Katan. But she was already there. I don't think we're going to get that in Acolyte. I think we're going to get bad female character in Acolyte.
I'm with you, right? But I wasn't even going into the representation of the characters, male, female, whatever. I'm just on the whole lightsabers and choreography and light versus, dark Force users. And it seems like the Acolyte is going to be our next only opportunity, as far as we know now,
to see lightsabers.
Or isn't it funny that it could be Bad Batch season 2, right? With Gungi and some of the rest of the stuff, right? That seems to be coming. Isn't it Bad Batch season 2, right? For getting back to, just like we saw with Tales of the Jedi, right? Getting back to the whole phenomenon of Force users and lightsabers and some of those things that has been woefully missing in the live action.
You know what's funny? This is true. People are crying for female representation, but what are we going to do without a naked Thor in Thor Love and Thunder, man? Body positivity only exists for one gender.
How do you, here's a question for you. How do you think folks would react in episode 12 of Andor if circumstances present themselves and somehow, some way, Cyril ends up saving Dedra?
I don't think people care about Cyril and Dedra enough. I like Dedra a lot. I don't know. That's going to be tough. So I can tell you how one fan base would react to it. They'd be like, we finally got a strong woman and a creepy man saved her. He's probably a MAGA guy or something. I don't know. It's going to be something fucking stupid on Twitter. You know it's going to be that way. Mm. If I was a betting man, I would say it would probably be the opposite of that. I think Dedra will save Cyril, and Cyril will fall into her arms, and there's your love story.
We'll see where the story takes us, right? But on the point that Nikki was making, it's been on my mind, right? Because we've seen a lot of injection, right, of the strong woman and all the stuff going on, and it's been quite overt, right? Tony Gilroy doesn't seem to be playing that way, right? So we'll see what happens in the last episode. It's just been on my mind, right? It's been on my mind in regards to that part of the story.
I don't think Acolyte's going to be canceled.
No, Acolyte's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen for sure. Haven't read any High Republic books. It's not my Star Wars. Acolyte might be bad because of that. I read one High Republic book, and then I read a half of another one. And the High Republic book I chose to read was the one with The Rock. Not the Dwayne Johnson. One. It was the Geode one. Yeah, I wrote the Geode one. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of funny. I read that book and I was like, this is not a bad Star Wars book. It wasn't bad. This is sacrilege, I know, to a lot of people. But Who wrote that one? It's the she wrote Master and Apprentice too. The only name that comes out to me when it comes to High Republic is Justina Ireland, who I fucking loathe. I loathe that human being. I hate her. But oh my gosh, what is her name? That's driving me nuts. See, the people who do good work are never remembered. It's only the ones you hate. I don't like Justina Ireland.
You know me, I don't know. I'm not good with names, so
yeah.
And no one's
Claudia
helping
Gray.
the fact that nobody's
Claudia Gray. Thank you.
Oh, Claudia Gray. Okay.
Claudia Gray. Yeah, she did a good job with that book. And honestly, as dumb as the concept is for like a rock and a ship called the Vessel and everything like that, it was a pretty interesting book. It was interesting. Maybe not like what I would write as a Star Wars book with like plants that come to life with dark side energy, but very EU kind of stuff. And then I picked up one other book, and I think it was one of the ones written by Justina Ireland, and I made it like 40 pages in.
You hated that book. I remember you were like,
fucking. You remember the messages? I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I did not like that. So my real perception of the High Republic is one that I dip my toes into, and yeah, I do not like it at all. But Claudia Gray does some good work. I'm almost fascinated that she made it into that group of writers and survived. Yeah, very interesting. Acolyte is trash. Hashtag swing. Hashtag swing. What else we got here? Everybody's just talking to each other in the chat. That's the problem.
we must not be that interesting.
Yeah, I guess we're not. They're just in a chat room. If Geode doesn't show up in Acolyte, I will stop watching Star Wars. Can you imagine if he did?
Is it the right? I think this is supposed to be set towards the tail end of the High Republic, right?
It is. It's at the end of the High Republic, yeah. So this is like right before Episode 1, essentially.
With me, with no grounding on any of the High Republic stories or whatever, right? Like many others, I think we're just evaluating this show on its own, whatever its own merits may end up being, right? But there's no historical grounding, right? Yeah. So however they choose to introduce the time frame and what's going on or whatever, to me, it has to be done in the context of whatever they're setting up in the show itself. So I'm like, I don't care if it's the High Republic, the Low Republic, the Mid Republic,
the Low Republic.
Right. You know what I mean? It's just words, right? It doesn't mean anything to me because I have no investment or grounding in the subject matter. But where I do think to myself, but other people who have read all those comics, who have read all those books, who have a grounding in the subject matter, are they going to be respected as fans, right? Whether I agree with their investment or not. Right? Are they going to come into the Acolyte thinking they're paying me dividends on all of the time I invested in learning?
Imagine if they fucked that up for those fans.
Very interesting, right? And I mean, we'll probably have to lurk in some other communities.
Oh, I'm going to lurk.
Understand? Are they, did they do that well? Did they not do it well? Because again, it's whether I agree or whether I'm into that part of the story or not, the purpose of perpetuating the fandom is to respect the fans. Right? So they do have a High Republic following. Are they going to be respected? I don't know.
Well, here's the bottom line, and this may be a casual observation. Generally, the folks who do enjoy that type of media or that type of content from Star Wars are happy with most of the stuff that they get. If that makes sense. So I think they will be happy. There's just the salty fan base, boys like me, who, I'm going to watch it and I will judge it harshly. And if it's good, I'll sing its praises. And if it's shit.
I think, and I'm not disrespecting your viewpoint, right? But I think folks who are down on the High Republic already, for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent, they have a barrier to entry on the Acolyte, like folks have been saying in the chat, which is, it's High Republic. I've already got that barrier, right? So now I'm entering in with the perspective of it's trashy, just from either my own personal experience or what I understand they've been telling, the type of story they've been telling in the High Republic, print, etc. That means the Acolyte's operating under a deficit,
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got the folks who are invested in it who are like, well, I'm expecting them to respect my investment. Right. They're kind of damned in two ways so far. And then I'm just kind of like, what's the story about? Tell me a good story.
This is kind of like the way I would, I don't know, kind of make like a reference to is, this is a lot like the video I made talking about if Rian Johnson directed a Star Wars movie. You already have a section of people who are not going to watch it regardless. And then beyond that, because of what's attached to it, your opening weekend already has a deficit because the people who don't like what Rian Johnson did either are on the fence or not going to watch it because of who's attached to it, aka the High Republic. And then you have the people who, like you said, who have been enjoying this stuff, or people who love The Last Jedi. They're going to watch it. Is it really true to the stuff that they have enjoyed from the High Republic? So for me, I think it's very, very interesting that they're taking this route, because we've seen that Disney now has this content, basically Gestapo team that's going to be going and looking at what they can cut out from Disney content, with Chapek actually part of the team, along with another advisor. I don't remember the guy's name. Do you remember his name?
But I know the story you're speaking of, right? You're talking about their cost-cutting measures.
It's the CEO, the CFO, and then this mystery man who's going to be looking over content that they can cut out of it. They have layoffs and stuff like that. And so I think it's very interesting that the stuff that we've heard as of late is that they're going to, A, make an Acolyte show that's tied to the High Republic. We know that's concrete. And then the most concrete evidence we have of a new Star Wars movie goes right back to sequel characters. Those are the two routes that we know are really happening. And it's like, what? We know that's been divisive. We know that it may or may not be successful, but it's definitely not a guarantee. Why are they going those two routes?
I have to tell you honestly, the movie, the sequels era movie, right, that seems to be the front runner for the 2025 movie, whether it includes any of the characters we're used to or not, right, it is perplexing, right, that the fact that they've chosen, I mean, make Solo 2. For me,
no,
I know you don't want Solo 2, but
don't make Solo 2.
I'm just saying the fact that they're choosing that route to go, apparently, on the next movie, it's perplexing, right? You know, it doesn't
make sense. It doesn't make sense. Can you hold it down for 2 seconds?
I can. Doesn't
okay,
make
we'll
sense.
be right back.
All right, go. Oh, it's just me. Now I can do my things. What's going on, everyone? Yeah, I know, Ronnie. I'm the only one who wants Solo 2. I'm probably the only one who wanted Solo 1, to tell you the truth. Good to see you, Trix. Felicity's still here. Ask me a question. I'm here by myself. I can take questions. No dancing. It was a one-time only. Not dancing tonight. So in the chat, if Rian Johnson actually does make another Star Wars movie, who in the chat will be there opening weekend to see that Star Wars movie? Be honest. Be honest. Put a 1 in the chat if you would go and see Rian Johnson Star Wars movie opening weekend. Put a 0 if you wouldn't. Let's see. Anyone? Ronnie would be number 1. I believe that. Ronnie would be first in line. Who else? Who else would be there to see Rian Johnson's movie? Daisy says no way. Daniel Fisher also, Solo 2. Okay. KG's not sure. JD says no way. Right. Holocron, no. Felicity said, yeah, she would be on the high seas watching it first. She wouldn't go. It's a tough one, guys, right? Because we have had no movies for so long, whether it's the Rian Johnson movie, right, or whether it's the movie apparently with sequels time frame. I feel like a lot of folks are going to turn out to see it, right, as the first Star Wars movie we've gotten in a long time. And it's a hard one, right? We want it to be good, want it to be enjoyable.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I asked him, I just out of curiosity in the chat, I said, if Rian Johnson really did make another Star Wars movie, who would be there to see it opening weekend? Will we go? Will we turn out? right?
Dude, that's a tough question.
It is. It's been a very mixed reaction, right? I don't know, maybe, maybe not. And to me, it's the same thing whether it's sequels characters, in that time frame, right? It's been so long since we've had a Star Wars movie. I feel like a lot of folks are going to turn out, right? They're going to turn out to see it just because we've been in such a theatrical, cinematic drought.
Yeah.
From Star Wars movie content.
I agree. And God knows when we're going to get the next one. Maybe 2025, maybe?
Well, right now it's 2025, and then the next one, I think, is still there as unnamed, right? They're both unnamed, but 2027.
They'll cancel it. It's going to be 2037 before we get another Star Wars movie.
Yeah, this is where I'm at, right? And from their standpoint, they're like, well, as long as we continue to turn out content on Disney Plus, Star Wars content on Disney Plus, that's live action.
It's gonna die a slow death if that's what they do. It will die a slow death, and Star Wars will fade from memory, from existence, and that'll be it.
I don't know that it'll ever fade from existence necessarily, right? But I am very curious about the next movie, right? So so I guess the question is, if it's not sequels era, right? There's so many other things they could do, right? I mean, for me, put something we talked about before, right? Put something out between Empire and Return of the Jedi, right? There's so many things you could do.
They're gonna be mad at that too.
You don't want to.
People will be mad at that. They'll say, like, you have to get away from this era of Star Wars. You have to do something different.
That's Heir of the Empire focused, right? If you don't want to, if they don't want to cannibalize the Mandoverse by putting that onto the big screen while they're still pumping out small screen content for Disney Plus, there's so many other things they can do that's not sequels era content from a movie perspective.
Yeah.
That I'm kind of like, why not?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, but that came out at a very different time than we are now, right? Shadow of the Empire was released at a very different time than where we are now. Okay, Rister.
Yes.
How do you want to do a giveaway? You want to do a giveaway?
We can. I have a George. If folks are. I don't know how we do it. Oh, we can do it on Nightbot.
Can we?
Yeah. We have a Nightbot.
All right.
Running.
We are going to do a giveaway. We're giving away something. 2 things, actually.
What are we giving away? You want to give away 1 George, 2 George?
Yeah,
How many George
one
are
of
we
those,
giving away?
maybe 2 Georges? Yes.
Oh, we got them.
Unless there's something else I want to give away. You know what? I could do away with one of these comics, I think, actually.
You tell me if you want to do a comic. Well, we can. I got Nightbot up. We're ready.
Yeah, let's do a comic. All
right.
Comic. Okay, hold on.
So while he's getting the comic, for folks in the chat who are interested in entering the giveaway, all you need to do in the live chat is type comic, all lowercase, comic, comic, all lowercase. I know it came up with I think uppercase actually works, right? But just type the word comic if you're interested. And let me make sure this is working. Okay, thank you, Andy. I see you're registered. So anyone who's interested, there goes Bill Tackett. Type the word comic while X-Wing is showing you the comic.
Yeah, I picked this one. This one's cool because it's got our favorite green bunny on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Buddy. So this is Marvel issue number 8. It is not barcoded for anybody who collects comics. This is not barcoded. But is 35-cent number 8 Marvel Comics Group At Last, Beyond the Movie, Beyond the Galaxy, Star Wars, 8 Against a World.
Cool.
Yeah.
Remember, comics aren't really canon, but if you enjoy graphic novels, comic, type comic, all lowercase. We got
great little spot. 7
folks are registered now, so you have a pretty good chance. If anybody else, and please only enter if you want it, right? But if anyone else wants it, type comic before I roll it. Going once, going twice. Anybody else? All right, I'm going to roll it. And Darth Scipio's in. All right, here we go. Oh, it's rigged. Congratulations, Bill Tackett, for winning the comic.
Bill Tackett.
It's rigged. Maybe really.
Way to go, Bill. Bill, since you're in the Discord, just send me a DM with your address and we'll get this coming out to you.
Well done.
In this issue, the deadly mission of Luke Skywalker. Very nice. This will come in a little case. It was hung up on my wall, so the little case, is that going to focus? You can't even see it. The little case has a pinprick in the top,
Yeah.
but it did not affect the comic, I promise. So enjoy.
All right, want to do the George? You want to do the George tonight?
Let's do the George.
All right,
George.
So we have, this one's still within reach. So I saved one of these for X-Wing giveaway. So I know Darth Scipio, you got another chance, right? So we got one more.
That's a 6-inch Black Series George Lucas as a stormtrooper with removable helmet. Just a wonderful figure.
A lot of fun. So if you're interested in this one, type George. George in George in the live chat. George. That will get you. Is it working? Make sure it's working. Okay, yes, it's working. I see Scipio Tans. Keep typing George. Let me just make sure it's working. It's working good. So for folks that are interested in George,
nobody wanted the vintage comic, but everybody wants the fucking Black Series figure worth like $20.
Yeah, he couldn't give away a Game Pass, right? But as soon as I said George,
unbelievable. Wow, I'm actually kind of surprised.
Yeah.
I thought more people would be interested in the start of this comic. This is fucking history.
Ronnie only wanted it because there was a furry on it, because he's into furries.
He is into furries, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Ronnie doesn't want a George, though. He typed Gregory. Ronnie, if you want George, type George, not
you have
Gregory.
to actually type in George.
What is he doing, Gregory?
Kids these days.
Come on, we got 10 folks, so still pretty good odds. So anybody else before I roll it?
So triggered.
Ronnie, you gonna type George, or you're good with Gregory?
I don't think he wants in. Okay.
Oh, he already has it, so he typed Gregory. Okay, I'm just asking, brother. I'm just asking. He already has it.
I do need to decompress in a spot or something. You're not mistaken.
Going once, going twice before I roll it. Anybody else for George?
He's already got the figure.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Good luck. I'm rolling it. Avi Aki Das Lobitos has won the giveaway.
Oh, congratulations. Something about wolves. 2 wolves? 2 little wolves? Dos Lobitos. That's 2 little wolves, right? Am I mistaken there? Congratulations. You won the George. You have to get in contact with us, though, which means that you have to get on Discord, because I should probably set up an X-Wing email.
An email would be good.
Yeah, I think I need to set up an email. I should probably do that. Avi, do you know how to get onto Discord?
I just send the link for the Discord. There it is. Hopefully that link still works.
I think it should. Yeah. So find us on Discord and then send myself or Rissman a message, or just say something in general, and then we'll get in contact with you and we can get your stuff sent out.
Still working. Great stuff. Always glad to give things away. I've been saving that one. So
yeah, it makes people happy. Yeah. I like seeing people happy getting Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've been going for about an hour and a half. It was a good little Saturday stream. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here, Rissman?
What are you before we go? What are you most looking forward to in the Andor season finale?
We need to see. Oh, that's tough. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, there's a million things that I want to see, but I want to see a blowout. Between the Empire and the Rebellion. I want to see the blowout. So I need to see Saw Gerrera and his black T-65Bs in a blowout with the Empire. And I want to see some battle, whether it's, in atmosphere or out of atmosphere, with some X-Wings and some TIE fighters. I want to see some ground war stuff go gnarly on Ferrix, because we know that Andor's coming back. I want a big action finale that's a payoff to this candle that's been burning for 10 episodes. That's what I want to see.
So I think we're going to get at least part of what you're looking for, right? We know because again, in the trailer and the little TV spots, we know there's going to be a huge blowout on Ferrix.
Yeah.
Right, the stormtroopers in the tanks, things are blowing up, and Deidre's there with Death Troopers. Right, that has none of that's happened yet.
Yeah.
Right, and we also know that I think we have one more opportunity to at least see Saw back at that base, because there was something in one of the trailers where his partisans are all pointing their blasters at something happening off screen, and we've not seen that scene yet.
Yeah.
Right, so I think there is an opportunity for that.
Was that not when Luthen came in?
I don't think we ever saw them pointing at Luthen. That all happened very quickly.
Yeah, they had their guns down when he walked in. That's right.
Yeah. So I think if we believe the leak that we saw from a toy perspective, we understand what's in his staff. There's something else going on with Luthen in some part of this that I don't think Luthen's going to show up on Ferrix and help them in any way. Right. So I think we still space battle.
There's one other thing I want to see.
What is it?
Because I think, and I might be mistaken, I think the timing makes sense. I would like to see young Jin walking around. Even if there's not a line or anything, just a little Jin walking around. Mm-hmm. With Saw, because Saw picked her up, right? At this point, he has her.
So at this point, he doesn't have. Well, at this point, he may have. No, she would have been there with him already, right? I need to go.
Yeah, at the Rebel base.
Yeah, that's true.
I think she would be there.
This is after Krennic is already picked up. This is their mom's dead. He's already picked up Galen. He's off doing his thing. So yes, so Saw would have. You're right.
The Death Star plan. It's being built already, which means that Galen is there somewhere. So we would have a baby Jin somewhere. Mm-hmm. And where's baby Jin? she's with Saw. So
she wouldn't be a baby, right? This is
she you know what I mean. Young.
Would she be in jail now? I have to research. I don't think we're seeing Jin, but I'm with you.
She wouldn't be in jail yet.
No, because that happened in the future. So I'm not quite at this point. I think in the
small Jin or so, small Jin or so.
She's been wreaking havoc as a part of Saw's crew, right? She was an active part of Saw's crew before things fell out between them. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
that'd be good. I think it'd be a great little touch. Really good tie-in. Doesn't have to be like a major part of anything or anything. But I mean, you've already got the two guys from Rogue One. How funny would it be if they, you add in a little Jin and all of a sudden now stuff's starting to boil together. It's all simmering. I like it.
I think it's going to be, from what I've seen, because the screeners have been out, right? People have seen. Some folks have already seen episode 12, and the pervasive or prevailing feedback that I've seen online is,
shut up.
If you've been into the series, you're going to absolutely love the finale, right? If you haven't been into the series, there's nothing in the finale that would suck you into it, right? This is why I think we're not all of a sudden going to see Jocasta Nu. Right, they're not. It's not like Tony Gilroy.
Nothing mind blowing.
Tony Gilroy hasn't been joshing us this whole time. He's like, all right, I'm gonna really wow them here. Nah, it's not. None of that's happening. It's gonna be thematically and consistently, the same as what we've been seeing.
It's got to be some action though, and
we're
gonna get that.
It's gonna be. I think we're gonna see Marva's funeral, and we're gonna see how all that culminates. There's a few more things about that.
Think they're going to mirror Padme's in some way?
I don't think so, but I think I do believe something's going to happen as a part of that funeral that galvanizes the Ferrixans, the people who live there, people that live there in that place to rise up and to do things. I mean, I think there's going to be a culmination of stuff. I don't know if Andor's going to show up. I
feel like a daughter of Ferrix would have been a better name for the last one if that were the case. You know what I mean? With the funeral and
I'm I'm with you, right? So I think hopefully it'll be quite satisfying. And again, I know what's in the post credit scene. I think that'll be awesome. Let's
Yeah, it's gonna be
see
good.
what happens. Let's see what happens.
I'm a little upset. I'm not gonna be around after the finale.
Oh, you're gonna be already vacationing.
We're leaving, that night essentially.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm dumb and I stay up to watch the show and then do a stream after it. Unlikely. But yeah, I'm gonna be heading to Disney and I'm gonna see another person down there.
Who is it?
It's you.
Oh yeah. I thought you were going to see someone before me. I'm like, oh wait, is someone else going to be there?
So I will see Rissman down in Disney, and I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun to kind of mirror what Jay does on his park hopping. I think it'd be fun to do a short stream, half an hour, 45 minutes from. Why are you calling me, Lobitos? I'm literally on a stream right now.
No, they said they just messaged you.
Yeah, no, I have a phone call coming in on Discord right now from Avi.
Oh, I don't. Oh, maybe they didn't mean to call me.
Don't call me when I want to stream, Avi. I lost track of what I was saying.
You were talking about doing a stream.
Yeah, it might be fun to do a short little stream, like Jay does on Park Hoppin' with Rissman and I in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
I think we're going to DCA the day you're leaving, though. I think we're going to DCA first.
I thought it was in Disneyland.
Yeah, but I'm going to be there. You're leaving on Saturday. We're going to be there Saturday and Sunday, and on Saturday we're going to DCA, and I can flop it. On Sunday we were going to go to Disneyland.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure that part out. No biggie. Anyways, we'll try to pop in and have us in the same area and say what's up to you guys if we get the chance. I appreciate everybody showing up tonight. Thank you for being here. Thanks for talking Star Wars with us for an hour and a half. And as always, Moff Rissman, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. And for everyone in the chat who's been here the whole time and keeps coming back time and time again. Peace and love. Great to see you all here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here and listening to this crap for as long as you do. We really appreciate it. Everybody have a good night, and we'll see you after the finale. Huh?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good night. May the force be with you always.